is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Campaign Grind. I am Pedro Diaz. I am your host, and this is The Campaign Grind. Once again, like we have every single week, we got our host, our co-host, whatever you guys want to call him, Mr. Ray Valdez.
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too.
Amen.
We just had a...
It's very motivating to hear you opening the show every week.
That's right. That's right. We're going to have to do a clip of all the footage that we got to delete.
The inspiring openings.
Of the openings, the intros, all right? Because you guys don't really see what happens before the whole... that. So you guys, we're going to put together a whole clip, and we'll probably put that towards maybe the end of this year or something, because it's pretty funny, the things that we talk about. But welcome back to another episode of the Campaign Grind podcast, vlog, whatever you guys are watching this on YouTube or on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on Apple Music, on your Android devices, whatever it is. Thank you guys very much. As always, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. As always, if you guys have any questions, give us a call, 305-860-1010, 305-860-1010. Today's episode, I actually want to talk about crunch time. And the reason I want to talk about crunch time is because we actually have elections coming up now in actually a few days. So it's actually crunch time right now. Many people think that, it's a week before the election, there's a couple of days before the election, it's too late, there's not much that I could do, and nothing could be further from the truth. So I kind of broke down this episode into 3 different topics, 3 different points. It's 72 hours, 48 hours, and even up to 24 hours up to election day, and obviously, of course, election day. But before I get into those points, I actually want to get somebody else's input on it, because, as many of you guys know, I did run for office way back when in 2009, but the most recent candidate that's sitting here with us is Mr. Ray Valdez. He ran for office a year and a half ago. So I actually want to talk to him about the crunch time. I want to make sure that you guys understand that it's never too late to make those extra phone calls or knock on those extra doors or even try to scavenge up that cash, before the fundraising deadline, to send out a couple of mailers. So, Ray, when you were running for office, and this is a very neat topic because we've never really talked about this. We always talk about the traditional strategy, this, that, whatever, but we never really talk about the whole timing of the campaign and when you need to stop or when you should start or when you should kind of like cruise, which you should never cruise. So when you were running for office, when did you think, or when did you say, okay, that's it, I can't campaign anymore, I can't make any more calls, I can't fundraise anymore, I cannot knock on any more doors? When was your cutoff day? You have election day, but then you also, every candidate has in their mind their cutoff day. What was your cutoff day and why?
First, I want to say that the fact is that's why it's so important to have a team, to have a strategist, a consultant, and so on. And don't think that this is going to cost you an arm and a leg or anything like that, and so you're going to do without it or anything. You need those timelines. Very important. There's many crunch times when absentee ballots come out, when your fundraising has to be timely. If you don't happen to have a whole chunk of money before you file, for your candidacy, you should, have a very important crunch time schedule on your agenda with regards to fundraising, because fundraising is very important. So you can have, all the tools available to you, whether it's mailers, phone banking, etc., available to you, and it'll cost some money depending upon the size of your campaign and so on and so forth. But saying that, I really, my experience with a lot of the candidates and with myself and so on is, gone to the last day.
The last day.
Yeah. All the time, all the day. Yeah, and the day of the election is a very important day to have your team out there, all the precincts, and so on, to have that last palm card handout to a prospective voter coming into the precinct, all those things. So you never stop campaigning. You can't stop campaigning because, we've seen campaigns with 200 votes, win with 200 votes, 500 votes, and so on. And that can be a day.
Yeah.
half a day
No,
voters, so you really got to be in there.
No, absolutely. But it's you never stop campaigning. But mentally, candidates, and I'm telling you because I went through that, and the amount of candidates that we represent mentally, you say election day is in 2 days. What else can I do? Yeah, I'm gonna knock on doors, and that's all I could really do. But the reality is that there's a lot more that you can do. Now, you want to make sure you don't violate any campaign finance laws. So make sure you check in with your municipality, your county, or even the state that you're running for office in when the cutoff date is to raise cash. But what I'm trying to get at is a lot of candidates, because like I said, I'm a victim of this as well, is that you say 3 days before election, 2 days before election, all I could really do is canvass. I can't really do much more. Why? Because, election day is in 2 or 3 days, and you start kind of making these excuses as to why you can't really continue going 100%. So that's actually what I want to talk about here. And I'm sure a lot of you guys watching, a lot of you guys listening are going to say, no, I'm going to go 100%. But until you're actually running for office and experience it yourself, because you're going 100% for 4 to 6 months, before election day, those final 2 days, it's unless you really get your second wind, you're fucking drained. So that's what I want to talk about on this episode today. So what I did was 72 hours. I broke it up into 72, 48, and 24 hours. And of course, obviously, election day. So 72 hours. Obviously, 72 hours before the election, you can't fundraise anymore. One of the things that you can very easily do, and I tell a lot of our candidates to do, is basically, while you're canvassing, because you as a candidate, you're going to continue to canvass, leave handwritten notes. Leave handwritten notes. It's a personal touch. The voters love that. They're going to say, you know what, he or she took the extra time to write down a little post-it note, put it on their canvassing piece, and they left it on my door. I must have been cooking. I must have been showering. I didn't hear the door knock or whatever. But they took the time and they left a handwritten note. That's one thing. Another thing is phone bank. Get your spouse, get your wife, your husband, get your friends, your family. Sit them at home 1 day, 2 days, for the remaining 72 hours of the campaign. Buy pizza, buy dinner. Make it a fun night, for the final 4 hours, 4 to 8 p.m. or something like that, and have everybody phone bank. You really need all hands on deck, especially 72 hours before the election. Another thing is, if you do got a little bit of cash left over, what I like to do is actually print. You guys could go to Staples or Kinko's or your local print shop, and print little small 4x6 or 5x7 postcards. Go to the post office, get some stamps, and send these little first class mailers per se, last minute mailers. One of the reasons we like doing that is because people usually remember the last thing they see. So 72 hours, that's more than enough time for the post office to get your 4x6, 5x7 mailer with that forever stamp, because it does go first class, and have it delivered within the next day, and they'll definitely receive it before election day. And that's very effective, especially when you're running in small towns and not very competitive races, or that a race that you're going to have 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 voters come out. Small municipal village elections, that's very, very effective, and it's very, very cost effective as well. The other thing is social media. I'd like to run social media all the way up until election day. The reason why is because it's very accurate. Like I said, what we do is, and this is something that you guys could do as well at home, if you're preparing for your campaign, is basically pull the voter file of your district, of your city, your town, your village. And what we like to do is we like to break that up into 3 different pockets, 3 different sections: early voting day, early voting election day, and absentees. And then through social media, you start targeting those different people. And also, what you're going to be able to do is, as election day gets closer, depending on your elections department, the county or the city, or the city clerk, you're going to be able to pull the information of the people that have already voted, early voting, or have already returned their absentee ballot. So like that, you could basically start cleaning that list and not send those mailers out to people that have already voted, either absentee or an early voting. So you want to make sure that you're doing the same exact thing for social media, so you're not spending 35 to 47 cents per impression on social media when you're targeting somebody on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So that's 72 hours. You got something to add to that?
I wanted to say, in my case, and you mentioned something, even if it's a small town, or in my area, not being a small town, but having a high concentration of Hispanic voters, when I ran, the last few days, I made sure I went to the local radio station.
Local radio
A lot of the people listen to.
Yeah.
My area, which is La Poderosa radio station.
Yeah, it's a Spanish
covered
radio station here locally.
in Miami and so on. But some of these programs, it's got audiences of 40 to 60,000 people in the whole local area.
Yeah.
And it's, they have a lot of programming which is interesting to that demographics. So I tried to hit. Actually, I was doing at least 8 radio programs a week
Yeah.
in different radio stations during my campaign. But and I also have my own radio. But in those last few days, I made sure that I hit that local radio.
No, you need to do that. It's like I said, you're drained once you're running for office for 4 to 6 months, continuously.
Yeah.
And these final days, it's you're drained. You're drained. And a lot of people just say, you know what, that's it. Nothing can be done. It's 3 days before the election. It's 4 days before the election. It's 2 days before the election. But the reality is that it's not over until election day at 7:01 p.m. until that last vote is cast. So you want to make sure that you do whatever it takes to get elected, to get that extra vote. So speaking of the small town elections and so on and so forth, I actually want to talk to you guys about electionmarketplace.com. Electionmarketplace.com is a site of its own. It's an e-commerce website for all of your campaign needs. So if you're running for office, you're thinking of running for office, check out electionmarketplace.com. There you're going to find different products and services that we offer our clients today to help them dominate their election. Electionmarketplace.com, electionmarketplace.com, and make sure you use promo code SAVE15 for 15% off your entire order at electionmarketplace.com. So we're done with 72 hours. Let's jump into 48 hours before the election. Now it's like, this is when your stomach starts growling because, oh my God, election day is in a couple of days. Have I done enough? That's when you start kind of questioning yourself. Have I done enough? So what you want to make sure you do is, like I said, most of these points that I'm putting into the 72, 48, and 24 hours are very similar. They usually stay the same. So you're going to continue canvassing. You're going to continue leaving the handwritten notes. You're going to continue having your friends and family over for phone banking, making these last extra push. And what's happening while you're doing all of this is you're targeting the people that have yet to vote. So instead of spending 4 hours on people that might not that have already voted, you're going to be targeting and only hitting the people that have not voted because you requested the list of voters that have yet to vote in your election from your local elections department. So you're going to canvass, you're going to leave the notes, you're going to continue with the phone banking, and then most importantly, that's social media. I cannot stress how important social media is because it's very, very effective and it's very, very inexpensive for your campaign. So 24 hours before the election, the night before, you're wondering what in the world's going to happen, okay? And you're thinking, well, that's it, it's over, it's done, 24 hours, I can't do anything, I gotta get a good night's rest, this and that, whatever. What we like to do is we like to have our street team basically go out to the different precincts of within the district or within the city, within the town, the village, and start putting up the signs at night of our candidate. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons we like doing that, and this is the later we do it, the better. The reason why is here in Miami, Miami's a little different animal. It's not, in different races in northern Florida or in the Midwest here in the United States.
It's a big melting pot.
Yeah, it's a little different here in Miami.
Different.
So we like doing it, very late, early in the morning. And when I say early in the morning, I'm not talking about 6 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We're talking about, very late, so 12, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. The reason we like doing it at that time is because our opponents in Miami, or not only Miami, but it happens everywhere, they take down the signs. So we like to be the last ones to put up the signs and occasionally take down some of their signs. I'm kidding.
We don't do that. The true fact is it's a better time to hang signs on fences and places and so on because it's less traffic. Less traffic on the streets. No, you can't stop anywhere. You make a quick stop, put the signs up, and keep going.
But believe it or not, it's not that's actually the main reason. It's a lot easier because you don't have cars honking behind you if you stop in the middle of the road to put up a sign on a fence or anything like that.
On
It's
top of your opponent's
on
side.
top of your opponent's sign. I'm just kidding. Don't do that, guys. You don't want to get fined. But yeah,
That's not
it's
fair. That's
it's
not
it's you know, just do. That's the way we like to do it. We like to put up the signs very late, early in the morning. But that 24 hours, like I said, we're continuing with the canvassing. You got to continue with the canvassing, the phone banking, and just a last minute push. And most importantly, what a lot of people overlook, and this is what we really like, is the election day logistics.
Yes.
Depending on the type of campaign or the resources your campaign has, you gotta make sure that all your workers, your volunteers, they're taken care of on election day. A lot of people overlook that because they're so worried about absentee ballots, they're so worried about election day and everything. I mean, early voting, and everything just comes up real quick. So you forget about election day and you forget about the actual logistics of it. Yeah. So you're gonna have volunteers and campaign workers calling you, the candidate. I need more literature. I need more signs. I need more T-shirts. You know, I need food. I'm thirsty. So you want to make sure all that is taken care of before election day. So we like to do this 24 hours before, so like that we know exactly and have an exact head count of the volunteers, the workers, and where they're gonna be. So like that we just designate 1 or 2 people, depending on how big your city is or your race is. We could designate 1 or 2 people, drivers, basically circle the different precincts, making sure that everybody's taken care of so they don't go off and bother you, the candidate. So election day logistics, that is huge. Make sure you guys put that down together. A good solid election day logistics plan, an election day plan strategy, because the last thing you want to do is get bothered by campaign workers or volunteers. I need food, I need water, when am I going to get paid, and so on and so forth. You got something to add?
Well, going back to the signs,
he likes the signs. He likes to take down the signs. I'm just kidding, guys.
No, but I've worked with other candidates and putting up signs, and I've put I put hundreds of signs up during my campaign myself too. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
You have
to. One of the important reasons I think for signs is exposure. You know, in this community where we are here, Miami-Dade, city of Miami, is a real melting pot. You have different communities, different interests. You know, you have communities from all over Latin America, and many of them have their own candidates. It's not unusual that you have, like, we just had District, District 3, and we had like 6 or 7 candidates running for District 3, City of Miami. And now we have a District 27 for Congress, U.S. Congress, and we have our incumbent retiring. So we have some major candidates running for that office. And you know, when you have a mixed community like this, a lot of people, they don't know who is who are the candidates. So a lot of times, you know, seeing your signs on the street and getting your palm card or getting your the postcard in the mail and in a timely fashion, like on absentee ballots or the day before elections and so on. This is most important because that's maybe all they're going to know about who they are voting for. Yep. If you do the extreme work, you have the best opportunity to get elected. And the game here is not running, is getting elected.
That's the most important
Scoring the goal. You want to make sure you're the one that scores the goal. And I say signs is a preference of mine because I say, you know, you have people in the community here from Cuba, from Nicaragua, from Mexico, from Colombia, from everywhere. And a lot of people, they don't know these people. They don't know these candidates. They don't know who they are. Because, you know, they really don't have that experience to work with elections, to voting, opportunity to know your legislator or after they get elected, to really understand that they do represent you and that you can go to their office and whenever you have any kind of a need or a suggestion or a problem or anything, go to your local state or U.S. Congress representative or your mayor or your commissioner and so on. You can show up there, and it's good for you to know who these people are, who are these people that you're going to that you need. Maybe it's for one of your kids to get into school, or a recommendation for a scholarship. Who knows? There's a whole array of different things, and you want to know those candidates before the election. You should inform yourself, and you get a lot of information in the mail, from all the candidates. But I would say signs are very important. I know in my business, I'm a realtor. In my business, studies done by companies like Century 21 and so on, big companies across the nation, they have come up and they said that most sales on homes come from actually the sign in front of the property. So when you're talking about signs, in my business, 80 or 90% of the sales come from the sign in front of the property. People driving by, people who live in the neighborhood, recommended to their relatives, to their friends, etc., etc. So, I say, if that works for that, and let me tell you, that's got to work for me in my neighborhood, in my district, in the area where I am, a candidate.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to add that.
No, you know what my stance is on the signs. Signs aren't going to get you elected. This is kind of where we disagree. We agree to disagree here. But signs do not vote. Like I tell all the candidates, the day that signs grow legs and go to a precinct and vote, that's the day I'll invest a lot of money in signs. But signs do help you with name recognition, what Ray was saying.
Yeah.
So yes, it's those signs. Make sure you guys put them up. Don't go crazy spending signs, money on signs with your picture on it or anything like that. Try to be frugal. Use the money where it really matters. If you need people to work on election day, the precincts, if you need to send out mailers, if you need to pay people to make the phone calls, that's really what's really gonna get you elected. Basically that omnipresence, getting people on the phone, hitting them in the emails, hitting them on social media.
Saturation.
Saturation. And signs, listen, they're good, but you just gotta make sure that this person or the entire city or the entire voter block is gonna be passing by this street or that street to see that particular sign, and they cannot be distracted with their phone or yelling at the kids in the back seat or anything like that. So that's why signs, they're good. I like them. I mean, I'm not a big fan of them, but they serve their purpose. But guys, crunch time. Listen, it's never too late. Canvas, make calls. Even if you got to do these last minute mailers, like I told you, print out small 4x6, 5x7 cards. Go to the post office. Get forever stamps. Send those out at least 72 hours before the election, so the voters can definitely get it before the election. It's never too late. Like I said, once you're campaigning for 4 to 6 months prior to the election, come these 72 hours, you're just drained, you're done. You want the elections to be over. You just want to be relieved of everything. It's all this stress. You just want it to be gone. But that's the time that you need to keep on hustling, keep on grinding, make those extra calls, knock on those extra doors, talk to those extra voters. As Ray said, go to the radio stations, visit senior centers, ALFs, clinics, whatever you can. Try to be in front of as many people, especially those final 72 hours. And if you're willing to take that risk and go out and hustle and grind, those final 72 hours, I guarantee you're going to get elected. Because I'm telling you, me as a candidate, when I was running for office, those 72 hours before the election, I was just done. I wanted nothing else to do with it. And just like me, I'm sure that my opponents were done as well. So make sure you hustle, you grind all the way up until election day, 7:01.
Before you close,
okay. Go.
You're gonna close?
Go. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just wanted to do to have a shout out to our friends from NALEO, the National Association of Appointed and Elected Officials.
Okay.
Arturo Vargas, the director, who for several years has done a tremendous job for all Hispanic candidates throughout the nation with their forums and their, all their seminars and all the things that they put on and their education foundation. And also because right now, today actually at Miami High School, we had a seminar regarding the NALEO is getting ready together with the United States Census Bureau to preparing for the
2020
for the
census.
2020 census, which a census is done every 10 years, and it is very important. You as a candidate, or you as someone who's watches the program here, the podcast, to make sure that you register and get out the word to your neighbors, your relatives, and so on. It is so important. Check it out. Check out what does the U.S. Census Bureau does and why it is so important for us Hispanics to register on the census. Now, the census data doesn't go anywhere but to the census. It's by law. It's not spread out to the CIA or the FBI or to immigration
so if you're
or anything.
illegal, you're not going to get deported.
No, it doesn't have to do with any of that. It's just a count of individuals, persons, how many people live in this community or in any community throughout the country, so that when the additional funds from the federal government come to your state, they are distributed to those areas that are in highest need, where they have more children, where there's more population and so on, so they can assist local governments with a lot of this funding. And none of that data, doesn't matter where you're from, if you're from China, from Mexico, from Cuba, from Japan, whatever. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter whether you're legal or illegal or anything. It's just a individual count so that they know what are the needs of the community. Because, the community has to be served with police, with fire department, electricity, and all the other public services and so on.
And the schools.
And schools, the budget for schools is always short. And we need all those funds and all the funds that we can get in every community. So make sure you're there, okay? And get counted. I want to say hello and congratulations to our friend also, Mr. Garza from MAC, Mexican American Council in Homestead, who's just appointed new director of MAC. Mr. Garza, congratulations. And don't forget the grind.
All right, guys. Mr. Ray Valdez, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you very much for tuning into this week's episode of the Campaign Grind. As always, I am Pedro Diaz. If you have any questions, 305-860-1010, 305-860-1010, or follow me on all social media platforms at Campaign Mentor, And don't forget, electionmarketplace.com for all of your campaign needs. Make sure you use promo code SAVE15 for 15% off your entire order on electionmarketplace.com. Until next week, I am Pedro Diaz, signing out.